Recording in progress.
All right. I'd like to call the meeting of the Parks and Trails Commission for October to order. I invite you to stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Welcome, Val.
Sorry,
It's okay.
you got me as is tonight.
We're all as is every month. Yep. We bring our best selves. Okay. Agenda.
Yes,
Jessica
so
has an addition to the agenda.
assuming that you guys will allow it, I do have an agenda item that I'd like to add. It still should keep the meeting relatively short, if that makes any difference. But I was contacted today by Kendra. She is one of our consultants with Landform, the planning group. And in Tavera, you guys had approved a park out there, if you recall, and I have maps of it and everything. But Lennar had accidentally taken out 32 trees from a tree preservation area. And so they are now proposing that they will replace some, if not all of the trees. We're still working out the details on that, but they're looking for a location for the trees, and one of the proposed spots is at the park. So they're proposing along the buffer of the homes where they kind of butt up to the park. So I'd like your guys' feedback and guidance so that we can move forward with it as a staff. And there is one other proposed location as well, and I'll go through it all if you guys are interested in hearing it out. Otherwise, it can be done at a staff level as well, but I figured today was the day and you guys might have opinions.
Let's do it.
Okay.
We need to make a motion for that.
Yes, to amend the agenda. So it would be the motion to take the agenda as is with the addition from staff.
I'll make the motion to take the agenda as is with the addition from staff.
We'll make that 8A will be the tree, and then B will be the garden club.
Okay. I'll second.
Second. All right. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Any other additions, corrections from the agenda? All right. Minutes from last month, excuse me. We only have this party monthly. Any corrections, additions, questions about the minutes? All right, Chair will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as written.
A motion.
Thank you, Val. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Bill. Further discussion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for the discussion. I think at the council meeting, when they went over this, because we were talking about the trails through the park, that, how we decided, well, we're going to wait on the trails because they're really expensive. I think they talked about possibly getting 3 parks involved in that, so that they could maybe, I didn't quite get the whole discussion. 3 Rivers, sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
3 Rivers. So, I know it's not included in our plan, but maybe when we hear feedback on that, we might be able to push that part of it forward a little faster. So we'll see what happens there.
Didn't we hear that they were interested in smaller parcel parks in the future?
Yeah, especially ones that aren't right along a
Yeah,
thoroughfare.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, maybe has trees on it already. Okay.
Good, thank you. Did we approve the minutes?
Yeah, we did.
Thank you.
I need a full vote though. I have
Oh,
a
we
motion
didn't vote yet.
or a first and a second.
Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thanks for keeping it straight. Open forum.
If anyone is interested in speaking as part of open forum, please press *9 on your phone. Otherwise, use the raised hand function on Zoom. We don't have anyone in the audience, so this is only directed virtually. And it looks like we're good.
Okay. No presentations. Unfinished business, the city park remaster.
Okay, so I don't have any real news with this. I just wanted to circle back and kind of follow-up after the council meeting. So going through the dates a little bit, September 15th was the last meeting for the Parks and Trails Commission. You guys recommended approval of the proposed Phase 1 concept plan. It then went to council the following week, which was very quick turnaround, I will note. So September 22nd, City Council approved the concept plans, as well as staff's request to apply for the 2022 Hennepin County Youth Sports Facility Grant. It has opened. I have not applied yet, but it is on the top of my list because I'm very hopeful that we get it. But looking towards the future, I've got some dates that I also put in your guys' packet. Oops, and I just scrolled through the entire slideshow. November 10th, we're going back to council to go out for quotes. So that's to get more design specs, a little more specific than just this layout, really finalize that with the amenities where they're proposed and everything, but just get more finalized details. So then November 18th, putting the RFP out to the world. January 4th would be the deadline for the RFP. January 12th, the quotes would go to City Council for final approval of the organization that will put together the full design specs. February 16th, the full design plans would go to you guys, so that gives them a month to kind of turn them around. And then March 9th, the full plans would go to City Council for review and approval. And that schedule is not necessarily set in stone. I mean, if you guys get the plans back and you're like, this is horrible, I don't like it at all, we can definitely look at it and extend a month, but this is kind of the proposed timeline currently. So I wanted to circle back on that and get your guys' feedback if you have any otherwise.
Good job.
So then, as of March 9th, if the schedule holds, we will have a plan for the remodel for
Yes.
Phase 1.
Yes,
And then after that, then we have to go about finding people to do the work.
correct.
Okay.
And if anyone is interested in seeing the RFP before it goes out, we can definitely talk about it. I've spoken with Nick, who works with Stantec, one of our engineers. He's the one who worked on this project a lot, so he said that he would be more than willing to help put together the RFP so that it is fully there and usable, and the people who actually bid for it would know what I'm talking about, so. We've got support.
The RFP is just for Phase 1.
Correct, yep,
Gotcha.
not for
Okay.
the entire project.
And the previous paragraph was currently $4.5 million in the 2023 budget.
2023 bond schedule, yeah.
Bond schedule, okay, thank you. So the plan would be financial plan would be to float a bond so that we would pay for this park over some years of the,
Correct. And then part of it would come from park dedication. The donation from the JC is for the
Yep.
splash pad. The donation from Hanover Athletic Association, or Hamel Athletic Association, excuse me. ARPA funds, which were the COVID funds, and then gambling funds potentially, and potentially sewer and water funds. We've got it coming from a variety of sources.
Good.
What was the total that we're looking to bond again for the park?
4.5 million.
Okay.
The total cost of Phase 1 originally was like 7.5.
7.353, I believe,
Okay.
million. Not to be confused with thousand.
for sure.
We could only dream.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't need anything from us on that?
No, I just wanted to circle back and give you guys some information.
It's good to know.
This actually feels like some progress.
It's the smiles on your face that make it all right.
With that, is there a chance that some of this will actually start in the next summer, construction? Or is it going to take months to get the proposals out, get them back, approve them?
If I was being realistic, I'd say probably the fall.
Fall?
At the earliest.
Okay, all right.
But still very good progress,
Yeah.
especially after taking 2 years off.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the softball, baseball fields will be the same next spring and summer?
That's what I would
Which
envision,
would
at least
not
for
be-
summer and spring.
Yep, okay.
The fall season could be impacted, but that's our smallest season by
Yeah,
far anyway, so.
Okay. Good. Okay, we have no action that we need to take. Garden Club, purchase request.
The tree.
Trees, thank you. Oh, man, sorry. Keep me on track
That's why you
here.
got us here.
Keep me on track.
Okay, so this is part of Tavera. This is not the entire thing. This is just going to be our focus point for tonight. If you recall, and if you can see my mouse, down here, Outlot J is the park. I don't think it really shows the trail so much. But again, it'll be kind of along this outside down, cross, and then there's also a cross down here, and then there's a parking lot right in here. So, moving on to the next slide. Like I said, the tree preservation accidentally had 32 existing trees cleared. Lennar is proposing 2 locations to plant the trees. Staff is looking for feedback from you guys to determine if the location for the trees, specifically in the park, is what you'd like to see. And upon getting that feedback, the actual planting plan, including locations and types of trees, will be discussed. I don't know if that will circle back to you guys, but I wanted to at least get your input on if you even want trees in the park, where generally you would like them, and if you have a certain amount of trees that you'd like in this area versus the other area, that's also something you could chime in on. I don't necessarily need a motion, just guidance would be fine, but if you want to make a motion, I think you certainly could. Go ahead, Michelle.
Can we see that map, the map before?
Yes.
That shows the bigger version?
Yes, and so what I'm going to highlight here, the 2 stars, before I flip back, are where they're proposing. So this is your park.
Where were they taken from?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I'd have to pull up the email, but
Yeah, I want to know that.
I could probably tell you, because I could see them taking trees down. It was, I think, the part on the hill, maybe? So it's like where that kind of comes down that slope, all those trees up there that used to be
Should have been a
up there.
buffer.
How old are these mature trees?
Yeah.
Well, some of them were a little bit scruffy looking, so I can see where they might have looked at it and said, these probably aren't trees that we should keep.
'Cause
My gut tells me it's not a mistake.
That was
That's
exactly what I was
bothering me.
thinking, yeah.
That,
And-
well, take them out, ask for,
Yeah,
You
and
know.
especially if they're mature trees,
if it
their
helps,
value is way higher than
Yeah.
Right,
saplings.
32 trees.
Yeah, so that, I mean, one tree could
So,
be the equivalent of those 32 trees. So the city should be aware of that.
if it helps, there was 1 bur oak. The rest of the trees were box elder, elms, and ashes.
How do we know that? Like,
'Cause they
That is what I was told.
do a survey.
okay, okay.
Impressive that we know that.
444 total inches of trees, of the 32.
So comfortable.
so does that mean that they would plant that equivalent number of inches to replace?
That's part of the discussion that's happening at a staff level. This is the first I had heard about it at 9:30 this morning, so this is the best information I can give you. I like to come to you with as much as I have to get your feedback. But there has been discussions of either doing 1-to-1 tree ratio or 1-to-1 for the amount of circumference of the trees that was lost. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think the second one is a much
that makes
more
more sense.
appropriate solution.
I agree.
And that'll be a discussion with Lennar.
Okay.
That's more Kendra than it is me. I'm more your liaison to figure out where you want the
Yeah,
trees
yeah.
and if you want the trees, but
So we may have more than 32 trees though, right? So they remove 32, it could potentially be.
if that's the route they
significantly more
go,
than that.
yes.
Okay.
So I'll swing back to that other map. Oops. So again, this is your park down here, and then along here is the other area that they're kind of proposing for trees, which would be a buffer along, this is 116.
Yep.
But again, along this, the back side of the park, the back side of the houses is kind of where they're proposing. Keeping in mind that, fox elder bug. Keeping in mind that there is a trail right there as well that just connects in and then it kind of stops.
Were we gonna have a lot, parking lot there?
The parking lot goes
Yeah.
about right
Small
Okay,
here.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
So can I ask a question?
Of course.
So I guess that would be a great question to know where the trees were removed from. Because like if I were an existing resident that lived kind of in that triangular spot right there, or along that 705, I'm not sure what that means right there. It's probably the distance of that. I could maybe feel like if the trees had been accidentally taken down from there, I could see that neighborhood feeling like, where'd all our trees go? So maybe it would be thoughtful to have trees on the abutting neighborhood, if that's where the trees were removed from. I guess that would be a really great question to know.
And I don't think, in looking at this email quickly, I don't believe that it was stated where they were removed
'Cause
from.
I can't, like, I know where they were removed from, like from my angle, but I don't know where that is on this map.
It's right off of 116 though, right? Where
So
there
this
was
is
kind of a
116 right
thick buffer.
along
But
here on the east.
Okay, let's see.
If that helps.
Okay, let's see if I can picture this here. So horseshoe,
Old Strewbridge is up over on the side there.
So this
Okay.
You're
is,
just north of there.
right, yep, I'm like kind of where outlet W is, where that's kind of where I sit. So looking back towards that direction, it could have been that tree line then, because there was a tree line up there that I know.
along here,
Nope, like over by where all, right in there.
right here.
Yep, it could have potentially been in that area, because that area, I can just see the horizon at that area, and I know there's some trees that were missing, along with like the ridge of that outlot L. There was a bunch of stuff removed from, on the top of that hill there.
Yeah, it looks very sparse now.
Yeah,
And
I
I thought it
will-
was gonna be maintained.
more, yeah. Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see that many trees gone as well, but like I said, some of them were pretty.
Yeah, but
some
that
of them
doesn't
were
matter, they were
greatly-
mature trees, so it's a buffer.
Yeah, I agree with kind of what you're getting at is we should put them where the trees were removed.
Right.
Like, who owns Outlot L there? Is that the city or the association or what? Because I'm all for planting trees, but that's not, we shouldn't just be putting trees anywhere. Like, I get that it should be near the park, that makes a lot of sense to me. But just putting them throughout the neighborhood, wouldn't that be on the homeowners to plant trees if they want
Yeah.
trees?
Well, and there's probably a requirement in the PUD that they have to have so many trees. I mean, I know in the
Oh, I
Ravina
see what
neighborhood,
you're
they
saying.
had to
So they have to
have
put them somewhere within here.
anyways. Right, so if there's extra trees that need to be planted,
Right.
I mean, it is always nice to have trees around a park.
Yeah, we'll get some shade maybe.
Councilmember Nichols really likes shade.
I do. That
Yeah.
would mean you have to plant them on the south side, though. No, the north.
The south side
Oh, you
of
want them on the south side so they shade the park.
If you want to use
sense.
those for shade, but it probably is more efficient and time effective to just put in like a pavilion or a sunshade over the playground and you get one.
So what I'm hearing from the commission is that you guys would like to see them put back where they found them. Otherwise, if there's an excess, do you want them in the park?
I'd say the park,
Yeah.
along the road. It usually seems to be the best place.
When you say along the road,
Horseshoe,
On the south side?
along
the
here?
park?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, not by the houses.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd like to know where they were taken from, and if you're
Yes.
correct, over by that 705 number
Yeah.
in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Or even like the 485 in that area, or.
Right. And then go by
Or-
circumference.
Or was it along, see where the outlet F is?
Mm,
That seems like it's kind of like a pointed ridge right there. It's sort of right in the middle, smack middle of that map almost.
Oh, yeah,
If
yeah.
that's where the trees were taken from.
You know, this is just outrageous. They put the road where it belonged. They didn't make an accident and put the road in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
They're gonna put the houses where they belong. They just said they were gonna leave the trees, and then they cut them down. This is not an accident. This is just, I don't know if it's incompetence or willful disregard of the agreement they signed, but it's just crazy. And this is,
They also were supposed to put fencing around all the tree preservation areas to keep land.
this is a big deal. this is just.
Can there be a fine involved?
They need to replace those trees, and they need to give us substantial improvement. This is not one for one. No, this is a big deal, and
Thank you.
they need to not mess with this site. They agreed to this site, and then they broke the agreement for whatever reason, and now they need to fix it. And fixing it is not to say, oh, I'm sorry, we made an accident. They messed up.
Do it first, ask for
And,
forgiveness later.
and it's not the way they should do business. It's not the way we should not accept this on a 1-for-1 or a 2-to-1. This is a big deal. They need to fix that as best they can. I want to see a tree list. This has got to be good trees going in. This
pictures of the
needs to hurt.
Mm-hmm.
This needs to be, they need to accept responsibility for messing this up.
Mm-hmm.
And that means, as I understand it, the best way to make sure they accept that responsibility is for it to involve some inconvenience and some cost on their parts. Yes, we need some trees in the park, and we should get some trees in the park, and they should replace those trees up there, and it should be high-quality trees that are gonna last for several generations. And it should be more than 32 trees. It's just, booyah.
I don't know how it's stated in I know that Kendra has specific trees that go into neighborhoods. Could we specifically request certain trees be planted around the playground? And then also require that the existing trees that were gone be replaced with whatever those,
We should do better than that. I mean,
or yes,
we don't wanna, we'd never plant an ash tree,
okay,
just because we're ash borer.
okay,
So the trees that would be planted would come from the tree list,
Yeah.
okay.
which has been established. And if you guys are interested, I could probably get you a copy from Kendra.
Okay,
I think the two of you might have
Yeah,
seen it.
we've looked at
And then as far as planting them around the playground, they're planning to plant either this fall or in the spring, and I would not foresee the park getting planned in that amount of time from a realistic standpoint, which is part of why it's not totally convenient to bring it to you now
Yeah.
without the park being planned. At least you guys know where the trail is, and you have a general idea of where the amenities can go. But it wouldn't necessarily be around the playground. Does that make sense?
the trees wouldn't?
Correct. Because they would have to be planted either this
Maybe
fall or
along the
this
lot line
It would
or
have to be?
conveniently
Yes.
for the new homes that are there or whatever. They should be trees that are, they should be responsible for them for a certain amount of
Oh, yeah,
years.
yep.
How come we have to have the trees planted? Why couldn't we wait until the playground was being built to plant the trees?
I'm just going off of what Kendra said, because they're planting them this fall or in the spring.
Which I get that they're scheduled to plant them, but because it was their error,
Should do it at our convenience, not theirs.
I feel like that should be okay. That's just my,
So we can pass that on to Kendra.
I can try.
See what she can do. I mean, they screwed up. Yeah, it's inconvenient to have to have their tree planting crew come in at a different time.
I'm gonna summarize one more time just to make sure that I relay all the information.
And if Kendra wants to look at the little veins on my neck stick out.
I don't know if
That's
I can
fine, too.
zoom the camera in, but I would really like to. So ideally, put the trees back where they came from.
Yep.
And/or on the south side of the park, so Outlet J on this map. At least 1-to-1 on trees with substantial improvement.
Or 1-to-1 or circumference.
Yes,
That's like
circumference,
fair
yeah,
minimum would be 1 to 1.
emphasize that.
Or if it's possible, I would encourage 2 or 3 to 1
Yeah,
as
yeah.
a penalty.
Yeah,
Penalty,
circumference.
penalty.
There you go.
Yeah.
I would like to, at some point, though, see where they, on the map, where they were taken from.
That would be good
Just so
to
we
know.
know.
I have it on my list to email that to you guys when I get the
that'd be
information.
fantastic.
And that's fine. We just,
yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a question that you guys want an answer to, and I
Yeah.
totally I totally empathize, and I'm curious as well.
we appreciate you bringing it up right away.
Well, Kendra brought it up to me, and she asked what my opinion was, and I said, well, we have a Parks and Trails Commission meeting tonight. I bet they're full of opinions on the matter. So, and then if possible, plant around the playground at a later date.
For a
In
better
addition.
location of them, yeah.
I'm glad that you guys have feelings on the matter, though. I love when you guys have opinions because it makes our jobs easier.
Don't touch our trees.
The Lorax.
Yeah.
All right, any further comments? All right. Now we're down to Garden Club.
Okay, so we had a request from the garden club. They'd like to replace the mulch that is back in the memorial garden. I, at the time of writing this memo, did not have a full quote yet. And upon further investigation, I spoke with Hassan Sand and Gravel, as well as Grove Nursery, and I got some quotes. The lower quote, including delivery, is $256, which I honestly think is very worth it to get it delivered right here.
Yeah.
If you want me to advocate for something, that is definitely it. And then they also requested preen, which is approximately $70. So the estimate in your packet is not reflective of what is on the PowerPoint. You're looking at approximately $326. Staff recommendation would be to clear $400, just to give kind of that wiggle room in case anything does change or adjust. But ultimately, it's your guys' call.
Well, I think last time we had talked up to 500, wasn't it? In case needed.
Yeah.
Less than $5,000 doesn't have to go to council for approval. You guys can clear that.
I thought the last meeting we talked about like 500.
That was for planting.
Was that the plan?
Yeah, it was
I apologize. Okay. Will this go on in the spring?
No.
You
it's
want
fall.
it in now?
Oh,
Fall. Yeah,
want to get those weed seeds.
covered
Is that
over.
what
Cover
preen
'em up.
does?
Preened and
What is
covered.
Yeah.
Pardon?
What is preen?
Yeah.
Preen is a pre-emergent, so it just keeps those weeds
That down
from
first
sprouting.
and then the mulch, is that,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the garden club would get together and do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is a one-day turnaround is what I was told for mulch, which is wonderful news, because then whenever you guys are ready, you can just let me know.
How many yards did we order?
4 cubic yards. 3660 per.
Was it from Grove Nursery?
We went through Hassan. Grove was 66
Okay.
per yard, so it was a pretty big
That's
discrepancy.
good. Yeah.
I think when all was said and done with delivery, Hassan was still cheaper.
Wow.
So. And it's bulk. I don't know if Grove is by the bag, but I was told it's more environmentally friendly.
Because you don't have all those
Yes.
plastic bags.
Exactly.
Now the trick is how close to the garden can they get with the truck?
Well, it's nice and dry.
I would recommend a wheelbarrow.
We'll talk to Pat, I suppose.
It's a really pretty picture.
It is
I
a
took
pretty
it, thank
picture.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
I used it for Park and Recreation Month when I highlighted our parks.
Oh, yeah.
This one I do need a motion on. I don't think anything else today. I would need a full motion.
A motion for 400 for mulch and beautification back there. Mulch and preen.
Should we motion for a little more, just in case? or
It's
is
up
that-
to you. You guys had said 400, but do you want it up to 500? I don't have a problem with that.
Sure, make it 500.
I'll amend my motion to up to $500 for preen mulch and whatever else you think you might need in that process.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Phil. Discussion?
Let me know when they drop off the mulch, maybe I can help. I do a lot of mulching.
That'd be great. We need your
Yeah,
expertise.
all right, yeah. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. That is good. Ooh. We'll get together with Yolanda and see what dates probably work.
Perfect. And then just let me know when you
Yep.
guys want me to order and I can make that happen.
Okay, good. Reports and information, active planning application, any questions or comments on that?
Just because I just don't know. What's a ZOA stand for? Lots, fences, and walls ZOA. I'm not sure what it means, those initials mean.
I will defer to Councilmember Nichols if he knows. Once we get into real heavy planning items,
Yeah, I was just curious what everything's got there.
I can look into it too.
Oh, sorry. I believe from context, there's several of these, and they're all areas that we're looking for ordinance amendments, so it probably stands for zoning ordinance amendment.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh, nice.
Wow, good job.
Like,
Yeah.
and the word from above comes down. isn't it? Any other questions on active planning?
What, number 20, where is that location? Just curious, because they give them names and I don't know where they are.
That one I think is right by Public Works.
That's the one that we looked at the trail by the,
It's off of 19.
yeah, off
At
of 19 and
Public
10.
It was the trail near the creek. You guys chose
Thank you.
either
Okay.
side of it.
Yep,
I think it's 14
by
lots.
Storman's over there.
Yep, 14
Okay.
or 16 lots, something.
Like I said, they put the names on them and I,
Yeah, lose track of it.
I have a map at my desk with them all labeled.
I bet you do.
It's become a necessity.
Anything else? All right. Recreational supervisor update.
Back to me. City Park has been a big topic for me. I've been filing and finalizing 2022 reservations. I would, without looking at the data, because I haven't taken a full overview yet, I would still guess that this has been the busiest year that we have had to date, that I've been here in 5 years, that we've had for reservations. I mean, people are really utilizing the pavilion, which I love. We've had more groups reach out to us about field usage, which is also great. Again, all of our fees are still in line with surrounding cities, so I feel that we're doing good there. I've also been organizing and fixing up the sheds that are out at the park. There's shelving in them now. I realize that doesn't seem like a big deal, but
Oh,
I'm very
yes, it
excited.
is. That's huge.
And then I put away some leftover equipment from fall baseball because Noah at that point had departed to Three Rivers, which, by the way, he's doing wonderful.
Good.
City Park remaster has been another big topic, so coordinating the information that went to City Council and then figuring out next steps. Youth athletics, I updated the website information, online registrations, as well as got the paper form ready for next season, so we should be relatively good to go there. Shout out to Noah for helping me with some of those dates before he left. Ice rinks, I've posted the job to the website, I've emailed the schools about the openings, and I'm preparing the training and onboarding for the season. Pretty on brand, we don't have anyone applied yet, but that's also normal for this time of the year. And then Night 2 Night 2023, I realize it seems very far away to everyone else, but it comes up so much faster than you think. So working with Sergeant Eckenberg to kind of get some of the logistics squared away. We've also been working on the holiday toy and food drive. So it is basically a traveling show of city and community vehicles that are decorated for the holidays. And then we collect toys for Tots, which the city is normally a drop-off location as well for Toys for Tots. And then we also collect food, non-perishables, and then there's a couple of other things that Cross Food Shelf is looking for. So we collect those at the same time. We were going to do it last year. It was going to be the first annual. And then we had a thunderstorm in December. And it downpoured and we did not do it. But this year we are planning to do it on Tuesday, December 13th. So if anyone is interested in attending, you certainly can. It doesn't mean that you have to walk alongside the vehicles. We might allow you to ride in one of the vehicles if you'd like.
How are you getting it out to the community so they know what they're looking for? And
I'm posting it on social media. It'll go out with the newsletter. We're reaching out to some of the local organizations. We've got flyers as well. It's on the website.
and you said Cross is looking for some particular items? that
Yep, so I'll
might-
post that as well.
Okay. Does it mean,
I think they were looking for winter apparel as well. There was also the talk of some gift cards because they also do gifts as well as
Okay.
food.
Right, so they can go,
They're all encompassing.
right.
And they even said that they would come pick up anything that we get, so we don't even have to go drop it off, which is really nice.
Uh-huh,
So
awesome.
that is my update.
What's the rate of pay for ice rink attendant this year?
Ooh, off the top of my head,
About?
12 to 13, somewhere in there. They get to bring the nets out, turn on the lights, do their homework. That's my big selling point.
Tie some
Do your
skates?
homework.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Tie some skates. You can even go out and skate, as long as you're careful, mindful, not getting checked into the boards. So if you know anyone, please, please, please pass it along.
What are the hours on it?
4 to 9 on weeknights, and then Saturdays and Sundays, it's a split shift, so 11 to 4, and then 4 to 9. So they're 5-hour shifts. They're not terrible. Very doable, especially for a high schooler, college kid, back for the winter break. I'd take almost
Any of them?
anyone.
Almost.
Almost. I still have to supervise them. I want them to be relatively responsible.
Good, thank you. Well, you continue to be busy. No kidding, huh? Yeah.
Best part of the job.
City council report.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for the robust discussion on the trees. I've been
That's it, robust, I like
council
it.
next week also. Over the last couple of meetings, there's been a lot of discussion around the water treatment plant in terms of design, a couple of zoning, I won't say modifications. There were a couple of, I think, unforeseen challenges where certain elements of the design didn't fit the Northeast District guidelines, so the council had to give some feedback on ways to deal with that. In one case, we asked for a design change to the enclosure for the generator to ensure that it has a privacy fence around it. The other issues, I think, were more related to accessory buildings and locations of those buildings. And overall, I think we're pretty satisfied with the design. We're looking at sending out requests for bids over the next couple of months to get a real firm idea of what we expect it to cost to go forward. We also had some discussion around a new potential revenue source for the city in terms of bond conduit financing or host city approval for bond conduit financing for nonprofits that want to locate in the city. There's a potential for them to try to get the same benefit that municipal bonds offer, where their bonds could be tax-free, but it doesn't incur any risk of the city being in peril of having to pay off those bonds of those charitable organizations. And that apparently can be a significant source of revenue depending upon the volume. So we created a policy around that, which could be used to fund a variety of improvement projects around the city. City Park was foremost in my mind as we were considering that opportunity. In terms of other things that might interest parks, I haven't seen any significant new park proposals. I actually wanted to get your feedback on something as we're going through the quoting process for City Park. I'm wondering if it might be worth trying to get anything lined up for any of the other parks at the same time and perhaps get some kind of a volume discount depending upon the work. Like I know we've talked about in the Tavera Park potentially wanting to put in a basketball court. Putting a basketball court in City Park, does it make sense to try to get both of those done as part of the same bid and maybe get a little bit better price on the second park? But that's just a off-the-cuff suggestion.
Tom, you got a thought coming there?
My brain immediately went to the two open space parks that we have, which have no development at all or no plan for development. I mean, not even a kind of a roadmap to how we would develop
Like the
those.
one over off Old Strewbridge over
Yep,
that area?
Yep, and then the other one up at off Steve Road up there. And then there's the bridge, which is still hanging out there.
At Bellwether?
Pardon?
Over at Bellwether?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's certainly some parks that are not developed, no plan for development yet. And so that if there's some way to double up on that, that'd be wonderful. And if there is, Wildflower Park has been in existence now for a couple of years, and what's missing, to do a little update, not a major renovation by any means, but, let's see if we can get some shade. Let's see, see what needs to be done. It's a small park, but what we could add without breaking the bank. It seems like that would be a good thing.
A garbage enclosure or
Yeah.
some of the miscellaneous things.
Yep. And I don't know if that's kind of in the range of what you're thinking about, but that seems to be things that would be on my list to go back and do some learning from Wildflower, what you would even do to kind of get it up to what par is, and then take that information going forward to all the neighborhood parks that we build. We need to have a garbage enclosure in the design, because we will need one. We might as well get it in there right
Is there
away.
a bike rack out there for when people ride their bikes?
At Wildflower?
Yeah,
There's not. I lean my bike against a tree when I go there.
okay. So that could be another addition.
So I'd like to just go back to the recognition of Kevin Mattson as city engineer. 5 years. I work with Kevin kind of every month on the Watershed Commission, and, he is just stellar. Every engineering issue was a big deal before Kevin came, and he got tossed into the deep end, but he is just, man, he's confident, and
He is.
he really, really is. He was a great find, and he does just really nice work. He's always a pleasure to work with. He goes through things again for me, because I don't always understand watershed issues on the first go-around. And so he's just a great employee. We're lucky to have him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Okay, any other questions?
Is the city center drive over there going to get rolling? Kind of over here?
Well, it's in the capital improvement plan that we discussed on October 13th. I don't think we have concrete plans, but it's being included in preparations for bonding for next year. So I don't think there's an anticipated reason not to proceed, barring St. Therese not getting started or something like that.
Are they on track to get rolling, or they got some issues?
I don't know what their status is. I'm seeing in the project list they want to modify their plan again. But I think they're also hung up on, they need to get that bond conduit financing in place so that they'll have enough capital to complete the project. So it's probably limited by financing at this point. But I'm not hearing anything to indicate that it wouldn't go forward. It's just they seem to have some additional steps they need to complete.
Okay, anything else for the council? Thank you, Jeremy.
You're very welcome. Thank you all.
Garden Club report? Well, we continue to pull weeds, pull up landscape fabric. We're getting quite the little pile of landscape fabric over there, which we'll haul over to the dumpster at some point before we put down the mulch, I suppose.
Yeah.
The garden looks, considering how dry it's been, the garden has looked pretty good. I think things are growing.
I think Michelle's watering it during the day.
I had been.
Good.
I haven't since it's been so cold, but I was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That helps a lot.
It does.
yeah.
How's the bee, wasn't there a bee pollinator area over there that you guys had done? How'd that do?
Yeah, it's doing pretty well. There's some Canada goldenrod in it. I'm trying to take the seeds out because it kind of takes over.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Trying to stay ahead of that. And they were gonna mow it. Jessica had it all set up, and then I thought, I don't think you're supposed to do it in the fall because then the seeds are run over, and that's what the birds eat in the winter.
Oh,
And it's like, that's kind of why it's there. It's for the wildlife too. So you're supposed to mow it in June for some reason, like early June. And that takes care of some of the things you don't want, like the goldenrod. But
Is that something you want done for 2023?
yeah, I've kind of been asking for it, but yeah, it's such a busy time of year for them. I know. So
Maybe if they're out here mowing the rest of the city hall, it might be an opportune time. I can reach out to them and get
Okay.
their thoughts and circle back.
yeah, that'd be great.
Good. Park Dedication Fund. Look at all
I
that
don't
money.
think there was any real changes. But it broke 3 million.
Yeah, it did. Very nice, that's good. Pardon?
I have one thing to add.
Sure, yeah. Okay. Comments? All right, good, yeah.
good.
Other business?
I wanted to mention, because I know that we've talked about Three Rivers quite a bit, the cooperative agreement is officially back in their hands as of last week. Our attorney reviewed it, we had a meeting about it, and then I sent it back to Three Rivers, so they have it. Ball's in their court. Trails in their park. That's the best we got.
Good, all right,
Awesome, yeah.
all right. Commission liaison calendar.
We're good, we've made all those adjustments, huh? November 10th.
All right, any other business? All right, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And is there a second?
Second?
Further discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you all.
Thank you, Tom Anderson.
Recording stopped.
So Noah went to Three Rivers.
He did?